Good morning. The last time that you were here, we were talking about something called silhouettes. We talked about how a good example of a silhouette would be when you take an object that you might see outdoors and then you put it where there would be like a sunset or a sunrise. So when the sun is setting or rising, a lot of times the sky is really pretty with lots of bright colors. Sometimes in the morning, I tell my kids it looks like cotton candy because the sky can sometimes be like blues and purples. Um, and then sometimes, a lot of times at sunset, it's a lot of pretty yellows and oranges and reds. But when it's starting to get dark and the sky looks like that, if you look along the horizon, so where the ground and the sky meet, all of the objects look black. So if there was a tree in the distance, that tree would look like it was black. If there was maybe a deer or an animal walking through a field and you could still see the sky behind it, the animal would look black. Or if there are buildings, the buildings would look black. So for my demonstration last time, I did hot air balloons. What I am going to do today is show you how we're going to paint the background and then what we are going to do to make our objects, in my case, my hot air balloons, look like a silhouette. I will do that demonstration in just a second. Okay, so today I am going to show you how to do the painting part of the project. As you can see, I started to Sharpie, and my Sharpie is running out of ink. So I think what I'm going to do is use a black, just like a Crayola marker, but here's the problem. If I do that right now with a Crayola marker, those water will like make it smear. So I just stopped, and what I'm gonna do is paint my sky first, let my sky dry, and then I can color this using the black marker, okay? You're not going to have that problem if you are using a Sharpie, but if your Sharpie runs out, don't grab a different marker and start using a marker like this because it'll kind of ruin your project if you use watercolor paints over this, okay? All right, so I am just going to work on painting, and I'm gonna make mine kind of some blues and purples and pinkish colors, just because I like those colors, and those are colors that you find in the sky when the sun is rising or setting. You could also use the warm colors, so any oranges, yellows, reds, it's completely up to you. So what I am going to do is show you something called a wet on wet technique, which we may have done in the past. I can't remember what grade level I did it with, but I really like the look that you get when you do wet on wet painting. So what I'm going to do is just use a little squirt bottle that I have. If you have a squirt bottle with water in it, make sure it's water, but feel free to use that, or you can just take clean water and brush it onto your project. This I just find to be a little bit easier because I can get it wet quickly, okay? So make sure you're doing this like on a kitchen table or a counter and not in an area that's carpeted. So what I'm gonna do is just start making blobs of color with the colors that I want to use. So I would kind of stick with either the cool colors or with the warm colors. I'm leaning more towards the cool colors for mine. And it is okay if that paint goes into your objects. So in my case, it's fine that it's running into the hot air balloons. And I really like this color, so I'm going to use quite a bit of it. But I'm just kind of letting it go wherever it goes. Then what I'm going to do is get the next color that I want to use. So I'm going to use some purple. And again, just some blobs of color wherever there's those white spaces. We don't want any white left on our paper when we're done. So you'll have to mix a little bit. Notice that I'm not mixing a lot. I'm letting the colors kind of do their own mixing. I'm just going in and filling where there's little white speckles. But I don't want to completely cover my pink or mix my pink and my purple completely together, because then I won't have quite as many colors. And I'll just keep doing that until I'm happy with how much of the purple I have. So it now looks like this. And then I think I want to add a little bit of like a turquoise color. I'm not entirely sure how those are gonna mix together, but we'll give it a whirl. Like that. And I'll just keep doing this until I don't have any white left on my paper. It's okay, like I know that this down here is ground and I know that that is going to be black. So it's okay that I leave that white. But all of the space that's part of my sky, I really want to make sure I have completely covered. Now I cannot do the black until this is completely dry. And by completely dry, I mean like not even damp. You might have to wait a day to come back to it, or wait several hours to come back to it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just put it away for now, somewhere safe. And then I am going to tomorrow finish my video by doing the black part, okay? If you don't have watercolor paints, you can kind of do the same thing again with markers. I believe I've showed you that technique where you'd marker it completely, and then over the top you could spray water or brush water to kind of get the colors to bleed together, okay? All right, I will finish this video tomorrow. Okay, so my painting is now dry. It took probably 3 hours for it to get dry enough for me to do the next step. I did outline everything with a skinny Sharpie just so that you could see my lines a little bit better in the video, but I'm going to just use a black Crayola marker to finish it up. So all you are going to do is trace around everything, like all of your objects, and color them in completely black so that they just become silhouettes. Now with the watercolor paint underneath, you might have to do a couple of coats of the black marker just to get it to cover that pretty well. And I would let it dry in between layers. So what I am going to do is color all of these, and then I'll come back onto the video to show you what it looks like when it's completely done. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know.